Hello guys, my name is André Ora and I will present the paper Googling for Software Development, what developers search for and what they find. We know that developers they spend a lot of time on the web searching for software resources. There are some studies point that they spend up to 20% of their time on this task. They may search for code examples, novel technologies, bug fixes, documentations, and so on. Just to give an example, Stack Overflow has over 50 million users per month and W3 Schools has over 2.5 billion page views per year. In common, those websites have that the majority of the traffic they come from web search engines like Google and Yahoo. So here I show 5 very popular programming websites. They have millions of web pages indexed by web search engines, and the majority of the traffic they come from web search engines. So in this context, what do developers search for and what they really find on the web? To answer this question, we propose an empirical study. It contains 4 major steps. First, we select the websites from which we are going to extract the search queries. Then we rely on the dataset provided by Alexa. We extract 1.3 million distinct queries. Then we propose research questions to assess what developers search for and what developers find. Here we rely on the Google Search API to compute the results. Next, we present the major results of the paper. Research question 1. What is the context of the search queries? Here we assess whether the search queries they provide reference to important contexts like programming languages, web frameworks, or any other popular technology. We find that this is very common, so in fact developers' queries they typically provide reference to important keywords like programming languages, software technologies, and web frameworks. In the second research question, we assess what's the size of the search queries and where are the keywords located. We find that developers' queries they are very short. They have 3 words on the median. This is very similar to general purpose search queries. Keywords they are more likely to be the first one than the last one in the query. Next, we assess the results resource. Where does Google find software resources on the web? We find that Google finds software resources mostly on Stack Overflow, YouTube, and W3 Schools. However, it is important to take a note that this may vary according to the query type. For example, if the query is more dedicated to programming languages, Stack Overflow is more common. If the query is more general, then YouTube is more common. Lastly, we assess the results variation. How do Google results vary for similar queries? So we assess 4 types of changes, for example, word swap, word removal, and so on. And we verify that the top 10 search results they are very likely to change. However, the top 1 is less affected. Conclude with several takeaways. For example, developers' queries are likely to include key contexts. Google finds software resources mostly on Stack Overflow, but YouTube is also a very relevant source. Thank you very much.